Welcome back, everyone. You know him as our crime and safety expert, but did you know Randy Sutton is also a published author?
And joining us now to talk about his new book, The Power of the Legacy. So your previous book was all about cop work.
My first three books.
Sweet turn. Okay, I've read one of them. Sorry about that. This is a sweet turn, very different.
It was very different, but the reason I did that book was very different as well. After my police career ended, it ended because I had a stroke in my police car, and I was given a very dim prognosis, and I was thinking about how I wanted to be remembered, and I was watching. I was dwelling on this, I knew it had to be something creative, and I was watching an interview with the man who created Make-A-Wish. And I saw that interview and I said, that's it. I want to talk to people like him, who their personal heroes were that inspired them to do the things, to create the things that they've done, to touch people's lives in such positive ways. And he, in fact, was my first interview. And now there's actually a movie coming out about him called The Wish Man that I was in.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you, the full circle of life, you know?
You're an actor, too. Yeah, it's called The Power of Legacy, we should mention, and it's a whole bunch of personal stories, right, of heroes, as you were mentioning. Talk about maybe some of your, I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but is there anything that stuck out?
There were so many.
Yeah.
I mean, this book literally changed my life. And I think that anyone that reads it, the whole idea behind it is that everyone can become a personal hero. If you touch one life in a positive way, you change the world. The people in this book, I literally traveled the country.
Yeah.
I went all over, and many of these names you will know.
Right.
People like Gary
That's what
Sinise.
I noticed. Yeah.
You know, who's done amazing things for veterans and for other people. Some of these names you'll never hear, but that doesn't mean that they haven't made an amazing contribution, and some of them right here in Vegas.
Right. Yeah, when I was flipping through, I was like, wait, I know these names. I know Father Joe Carroll. I know Sandy Heverly, Larry Ruvo. How did you pick? There are so many great people in our city alone.
There are so many great people in our city, and you know, I picked by throwing it out there to others, and I say, hey, you know what? Who do you know? And people came to me from all kinds of very interesting corners of the United States, and said, you know, well, I'll tell you one of the best. I was in Washington, D.C., and I was interviewing Colonel Barney Barnum, who was a recipient of the Medal of Honor. And this guy is a retired full bird colonel, gruff old guy, you know. His actions in Vietnam got him awarded the Medal of Valor, Medal of Honor, excuse me. And so we're talking, and he stops and he says, Randy, I know who needs to be in your book. Bonnie Carroll needs to be in your book. And I go, who's Bonnie Carroll? He says, don't worry about it. She needs to be in your book. And he picks up the phone. He says, Barney Barnum, you need to be in Randy Sutton's book. Never mind, you just need to be in his book. Well, he hooked me up with Bonnie Carroll, who created the trauma assistance program for survivors for the entire United States military after her husband and his entire staff was killed in a plane crash. And she realized that there was nothing in the military to help service wives and husbands.
I'm not used to seeing the softer side of Randy Sutton. I can tell that the book's really had an influence on you, and we want you to know where you can buy it. You can buy it at any bookstore. It is available now. It's also available online.
And Amazon, it's actually in Audible.
Yeah.
It's digital. It's on Kindle. It's everywhere.
Right.
And I guarantee you that if you read this book, you will be touched by the people who are in it, and I think it's a great book to give to your kids too, because it really shows how you can change lives in such positive ways.
Randy, thanks so much for coming on and sharing, and
My
congratulations on the new book.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's check in with Justin now and get the weather.